Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to represent Paul Mitchell from Salon Success, Mr. Joe Hill.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Salon Success and Salon Services stand here at Salon International. I tell you what, this is my favourite industry event. I absolutely love being here. So you're going to be spending the next 40 minutes with us, where we're going to be celebrating 20 years of professional hair colour. So who in the audience has heard of Paul Mitchell or used the famous Paul Mitchell black and white products before? So we've got some people in the back there. So Paul Mitchell again is famous for his shampoos and conditioners. But again, in 2018, we're celebrating 20 years of professional colour. So what we want to make this next 40 minutes about is sharing the full spectrum of what that colour has to offer. So we're looking to give you some inspiration, motivation, but also some salon-friendly techniques to take back to the salon. So without further ado, I'm just going to introduce our fabulous artist song. We've got Vicky Pantin. Woo! We've got Luke, and we've also got James, our regional educators. So what I'd like to do before we get started is we had a day of prep on Thursday where we got all of our models over to our studio, which is located in Aylesbury. And we had a full day of prep to get us where we are now. So we're just going to show this short VT, which is going to show you the prep work that we completed. Thank you very much. Fabulous. So that was a nice video. I haven't seen it myself, but maybe I'll get to have a little look at it later. So what I'm going to start doing is I'm just going to start talking through my model and what I've done to prep. So if you could just pop your head down slightly there. Now we actually used Sinead as a model about 3 to 4 weeks ago. And when she first came to me, her hair was quite chemically challenged. So we actually put a pre-treatment on it to get the condition and the porosity nice and even from root to tip. And then what we did when we colored it a few weeks ago is we colored it to quite a rich dark red. So when we had her in on Thursday, we actually pre-lightened the whole canvas, which gave us to this sort of like peachy base, this peachy canvas, which I actually really like. Then what we've done is we've almost like re-picked the rest of the hair working with our demi-permanent colour, which is a 6OR and a 9OR. So that's an orange red on a level of a 6 dark blonde and the level 9, which is our medium blonde. So what that has done is it's just left us with this beautiful canvas to be able to put our accents through there. So section wise, you can just like turn you around. That's it. Just pop your head to the side. So section wise, what I've done is I've taken a horseshoe section from one side of the head right the way through to the other, and then I've almost taken these segmented sections off it. So what you'll see is I've taken a diagonal section across the crown, which is there, and then what I've also done is I've taken 2 further diagonal forward sections through these areas here. So what these segments are going to do is they're going to form the perimeter of that undercut there, so we can get some nice sharp geometry, some nice sharp lines through there. Then what I've done through here, I've just split the hair into 3 further sections. And the palette that I'm going to be working with today are going to be some gorgeous muted yellows. Now I know yellows are sometimes a colour that who gets nervous when we hear yellow? I know that when I work in the salon, if I ever had a customer come in and ask for yellow, I think of gold. I think of really nasty looking colours. Whereas I think if you can get that real beautiful, almost kind of like creamy pastel yellow, I think it can look really expensive. So we're going to be working with that nice muted yellow through there. We're going to be working with some nice rich coppers and some autumnal tones. And then on that root area, we're just going to be shadowing that and giving it a little bit more density. So I'm going to get started. Enough for me. I'm just going to introduce you to my colleague James, and he's going to tell you what he's doing.
No, am I on? Can you hear me? Yeah, hello. How are you doing? You okay? So it's my beautiful model Ellie. So with Ellie's colour, we actually wanted to do a camouflage technique. So what we actually first started doing is kind of working a pre-lighting section throughout the underneath. And with the kind of camouflage technique, we actually worked with a camouflage jumper. So we actually put 3 or 4 colours going through randomly through that. So we actually use Bordeaux, we use green, and we use steel. And then all over base colour, we use a nice 5MT, just kind of a nice sort of flatness to it. So really, when she walks down the street, she's kind of a nice brunette. When she kind of comes a bit closer, you can kind of see those pop of colours sort of coming through, so she can be quite playful. So that's what kind of me. I'm going to pass you on to Luke.
Thank you. Is mine on? Can you hear me? No, you can't hear? That better? There, yes. Hi, nice to see everyone. My name's Luke, nice to meet you all. So my model is Tara. So I'll just give you a background of Tara's colour history. So she had some outgrown highlights, previous chemically lifted highlights to her hair. So on Thursday during the prep day, we used our Skylight, which is our hand painting clay lightener. It contains kaolin clay, which helps form its consistency. So when working with more freehand organic work, which is very, very popular at the moment, it's going to help form a protective shell, therefore minimising the need for foils and incubators or separators. So the technique that we used with Tara out of our 2020 collection was called the Aurora. The inspiration was from the Northern Lights, and as you could see from the makeup that we've used today, we've sort of gone with that sort of Aurora colour palette. So going back to the technique, phase 1 of the colour process was to lift out in a balayage technique and open air colouring using our Skylight. We worked through in a very organic placement as we went through the hair. So we went through and we just skylighted out through Tara's hair and worked our way up through to the front section just to give a very natural, lived-in, organic, lightened effect. So that was phase 1 of the colour process. So what I will do now is pass you over to Vicky, and then when you come back to me, I'll go through phase 2, which is what I'm applying at the moment.
Awesome. So my name's Vicky. I'm a colour technician for Paul Mitchell. So throughout the week, I spend my life on the road educating colour. So my gorgeous model today, Alice, she was actually a virgin head of hair when she came to us, which is always very exciting and very, very rare. So with Alice, we worked some pre-lightened panels through, utilising our Skylight, so our clay lightener. We then worked in a surround colour within our colour XG. That's our permanent hair colour. So we worked with a 6 red violet, with a little bit of violet intensifier in there just to add a little bit of depth and tone. That was just with 10 volume, we purely wanted deposit. We then utilised our Demi 9PA with 6R, so 9 pearl ash with 6 red, and then we worked with our pop. So we went for full spectrum. We used a temporary colour also. So our temporary colour was a combination of our purple quartz, our steel and our pink. And then I'm going to be working with our neuro styling. So one of the things I love about curly hair but also don't enjoy so much about curly hair is the inconsistency that you get with curls. So we do have a lovely natural texture, but then you got a few little straight pieces, haven't you, Alice? So we're going to be utilising our neuro electricals and our neuro styling tools, and we're just going to be enhancing that texture. So I'm going to get the VT roll in for neuro, and I'm going to hand you back to somebody else very shortly.
Excellent. I hope you enjoyed that VT. So I just wanted to give you a bit more of an explanation into the application method that I'm using through the sides here. So because I had this beautiful sort of like, I want to call it like a peachy smoky orange, because I've got that sort of tone at the root area, I kind of liked it. So as I'm applying the colour through the sides, I wanted the two colours to bounce off each other, because the colour that I'm applying is a level 6, but it's got a red orange in it. So it is going to be quite intense, but it is in our Colour XG range, which is more of an opaque colour. So if I applied that through the sides, it's going to go quite dense and it's going to go quite solid. So the tint brush that I'm using is a feather tip tint brush. So it's a Paul Mitchell feather tip tint brush. And I'm just surface coating the hair and then just combing it into the shape that I want that colour to sit. So you can see through the sides, I'm combing it into a point, and I'm almost like applying the colour flatly over the hair. And then what that will do by applying it flatly over the hair like so, is I'm not going to get maximum saturation from it. So you're going to see almost like a holographic effect from the colour. You're going to see the two colours bouncing off each other. So what I'm going to do from there, just going to subdivide that, get rid of that section, is I'm going to subdivide this away, and then I'm going to start working on my back segments, and I'm just going to get my root blur in. So I'm going to get that 7 or that 6 level red orange on the root area, just again to kind of like shadow away that peachy tone that we have in there. Excellent. So yeah, as we were mentioning earlier, it's 20 years of professional hair colour this year. So Paul Mitchell has a real diverse, exciting range of professional hair colours. So it's only available to the professional hairdresser. The colour that I'm working with here is called Colour XG. And what I really love about it is, first of all, it's got a real beautiful cosmetic base to it. So as you're working with it, it's creamy, it's rich, it leaves the hair feeling in absolutely stunning condition. What have you worked with there, James?
So I actually went in with Pop XG, so Colour XG on the root and through midlets and ends, and then through the panels here, as you can see where I've started to curl it, you can kind of see there's colours coming through. So it's not actually panels of it, it's more multicoloured, it's got camouflaged. So they're actually on semi-permanent colour, which is Pop XG. So again, I've used teal, border, and a little bit of green. So kind of wanting this nice earthy, muddy, very natural sort of tone to it. But at the end of the day, she kind of is a brunette, but when she kind of curls her hair, she can get like pops of colour coming through, which is quite nice. It's quite fun. Hello? There we go. And what I'm starting here, so I'm using my Neuro Style. Actually taking probably about 2-inch sections. Taking my actual iron through the actual section, turning it once in alternate waves, pushing it down the head, but then actually dropping the end out so then it ends up being straight, and then just straightening the ends, just so it kind of gives a very more of a modern finish and it's not too curly in a way. Alright? Luke, you okay?
Me? Sorry. Me or Vicky? Me? So now what I do, if I bring the camera around. Now with phase 2 of the Aurora technique from the 2020, it was utilising the tonality of the Aurora Northern Lights. You can use any colour palette that you choose to. With Tara's limitations, we needed to stay on a nice creamy blonde base. So for that reason, I've chosen to work with our range of demi-permanent hair colour, which is the Demi, and it's sort of quite unique. It's a liquid demi-permanent hair colour, so if you can see in the bowls, it mixes to a perfect gel consistency, so that allows me to really work through and saturate the product into the hair, because with chemically lightened hair, we know that the porosity increases, so it's just going to absorb that colour straight away. Sometimes when working with more of a cream or a heavier based colour, I tend to find that the porosity can almost suck it in too much, like a sponge. It just soaks it right in, and then you lose the shigginess and the translucent quality to the colour that we want to create. When I work with colour, I always take into consideration my end result, but also the hair fabric and the type of hair that I'm working on. and how that guest wears and styles their hair. Tara's hair is pre-lightened chemically. She does a lot of model wear and she's a dancer, so she uses quite a lot of heat styling on her hair at home as well. So for that reason, I wanted to use the demi because it gives the hair great hydration as well as condition and tone. I like to sort of refer to our demi as like lip gloss for hair. You know what I mean? You get that moisturisation, tone, colour. So as I'm applying the colour through, on the root area what I've applied first of all, I want slightly more deposit. So I've used a level 9 with a blue violet tone. And then I've also used a level 9 with an extra violet tone. The blue violet in our demi range is a brown base, but then also with a blue and a violet soft neutraliser. So it's perfect for when you want to create those very commercial cream, vanilla, butterscotch, champagne blondes. So because of Tara's limitations, that's where we're saying today we're going to have mild neutralisation, but we're going to have that nice, very commercial blonde finished look at the end. So when I'm applying the colour, I have 3 formulas. So I have my base colour, which is the level 9 blue violet violet, and then I also have 2 10 lines, which is new to our range of Paul Mitchell Demi. They launched in September. So I've got a 10 level violet on its own to give me a really oyster iridescent shimmer. And then I have a 10 BV blue violet, again because that is your brown base with a soft neutraliser. And then I've also mixed in with that our 10 Pearl Ash PA. That's going to give me a very, very expensive champagne tone to the hair. As you can see how I'm applying, I'm using some mesh, but because of the gel consistency, I'm really working and marbling those colours into one another. I don't want to create lines or segments, which is what we used to do traditionally with highlights and lowlights. I want multi-dimensional hair, but without seeing where one starts and where one finishes. Vicky?
Hi! Okay, so we are working through Alice's hair. If you caught me earlier, I was just talking about how I love to work with a curly fabric, but what I find challenging is quite often the inconsistencies of curl. People do tend to have areas that are slightly more curlier than the rest. So in Alice's instance, we've got a lot of straightness around the front on the ends. So I'm utilising my Neuro Protect, which is a light holding hairspray plus also a thermal heat defender. So just spritzing that onto the hair and then working with my trusted Neuro smallest cone and then just wrapping around any areas that I see that I'm like, I'm not so much of a fan of. Then I'm just working around the barrel. And we have an isotherm titanium, so what you'll notice is I can just slide that hair off like a hot knife through butter. They're my absolute favourite to work with. So just enhancing all that shape and that texture. And then I'm going to start to kind of pin a little bit up. I think that we are going to go for a little kind of faux bob / faux rounder fro than what we have going on. I've also set my heat just to 180, so I'm not at a super high heat because with this texture of hair, generally I don't need to be blasting it with a maximum temperature of 230. And this is just going to give me the heat protection, so that's your Neuro Protect. I am going to pass you back on to Joe while I finish up with my curling, and I will catch you soon.
It's like we're on a little rotation today, isn't it? We don't usually go like this, but it's quite cute. So what I really wanted to talk about today is kind of what's on trend when it comes to hair colour, because I know as a hairdresser, I'm a full-time educator. So I work as an educator on the road, going into salons 5 days a week, but I also still work in Salon. I don't know how I have time to do that. But one of the biggest questions that I get asked from hairdressers and from clients is what's on trend. And I think that's a really difficult thing to answer. I think that if you skip back 15 years ago, it was a lot of the Jennifer Aniston highlights. Does everyone remember them? Everyone was having the same thing. There's still a few clients having those sorts of things. Whereas I think now you've got everything from those more natural palettes right the way through to your bold, vibrant, more punky pigments. So I think that what's on trend for me right now is, has everyone heard of Pantone before? So Pantone is an amazing source to look at. So they give you a real good insight into what palettes and what colours are on trend. So obviously their colour of the year has been ultraviolet. So I have been working a lot with those sort of like smoky tones, so smoky violets, lilacs, lavender tones. But I feel like as we're going into autumn, winter, we're kind of near winter now, aren't we? I'm working more with that autumnal peachy hues and more of those yellowy hues and more of those playful hues. And it doesn't always have to be this global and this vibrant. It could just be in an accent sort of way. And what I mean by accents is it's just when the light hits it, you just have hints of those yellow tones or those peach tones or those autumnal tones that you really want to work with. But as you'll see from this section here, I've got the level 7 and then I've just drifted that into my yellow on the ends. The yellow that I am working with is in a colour range called Pop XG, which is a direct dye and it lasts in the hair for anywhere up to 6 to 8 weeks depending on the porosity that you're working on. But what I really love about this yellow is it's almost a little bit like mustardy looking yellow. So I'm going to apply this through my accent sections through there. And then afterwards, I'm going to apply my yellow Inkworks globally over the whole thing, which is just going to bring it all to life, give it that beautiful shine, that beautiful condition, but again, just make it pop that bit more. So I'm just going to carry on working through here. That looks beautiful.
So just to recap what I'm sort of doing, her colour you can see, as I've now waved it through, it started to come through quite nicely. So you can see there's sort of teals and greens there, get quite a lifting sort of colour. And like I said, it's just kind of a very fun, easy technique. And then with my actual finishing, just using my Neuro Finish, it's quite like a light hold hairspray. It still has heat protection in it for like next day styling. But just raking that colour through, raking the hair through, just to kind of give a very softness to it, without being too overworked and too done. But I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Is it beautiful? Is it good?
So James, if you are doing that sort of like technique, what other tones could you work with? When you're working with clients? Like what type of client would you use it on in the salon?
I think you could probably do any client, any technique with this. I think not being too bright, so you kind of want to stick to a very, very close palette of the actual natural hair itself, but making sure that it can suit any blonde, brunette, reds. It's just having a bit more fun with colour. But as long as it's not too in your face, I think it works really nicely.
To let you guys know as well that we have a champagne bar upstairs. So we have the beautiful Rachel there, who is our company colour expert. So if you guys have any technical questions, want to know anything about our professional colour system, then please pop up and see her. She'd love to have a chat with you. She's wee Scottish. She's going to go embarrassed. She's looking at me like, you. But yeah, head upstairs. If you want a beer, if you want a champagne, you just want a coffee or just a chat, feel free to head up. We've also got some of our business consultants working in this area as well, if you'd like to have a little look or a chat about any of our products. You know, I've worked for Paul Mitchell now for coming on 7 years, and I really love working with the brand because I feel like it's a brand which has a really beautiful ethos to it. So we are a vegan-friendly colour, so none of our colour is tested on animals, and I think that that's a huge thing for my customer base. And I mean, I'm going to be honest, I'm not a vegetarian or I'm not a vegan, but I have had customers that have travelled over 50 miles to come to the salon just to have a vegan-friendly colour. So it's a massive, unique selling point for us. Are we getting on there?
Right, so now I've applied the second phase of colour through Tara's back section. I've moved on to my two side quadrants, and as you can see, I've taken out the first inch of the hairline. You'll all agree now in salon, every blonde, where do they want to be blonde? On the front, where they see it, on the face. So what I'm going to do is isolate that out while I work all my colour fully through, and then at the end I'm going to use my lightest 10 blue violet tone with the 10 pearl ash. I'm just going to rinse that over on the end to gloss that front, just to tone it, but then just to keep it super light and bright at the same time from the finished end result. Within this look, the Aurora, I've gone for very, like I said earlier, we've gone for very commercial tones. We've just done a soft neutraliser. But in the collection, it works with our Pop XG hair colour, which is a direct dye that Joe's just been speaking to you about. And then we can also work through with our Colour XG and the Demi. Because to give you a real diffusion of texture within colour, I always like to work with all ranges and categories of colour. Cream colour is going to give me more of a dense, heavier finish and deposit because of the cream consistency and the tonality within parent colour. And then the Demi is always going to give me a truer, softer, reflective finish. Pop XG and Inkworks being direct dye are going to give me more of the fun, fashion pop of colour. So we will be doing the Aurora on another model who we've got, and I've used a mixture of peaches and pinks and yellows in there, so it really comes alive when you see it through the hair in a blonde. With direct dyes as well on pre-lightened hair, because they are usually in a conditioning base, they really help with the porosity in the hair as well, and really help to stain that cuticle layer to give you a real fun pop of colour. With the 2020 collection, the inspiration was to be able to have fun with colour again. Like Joe said earlier, it used to be, like 10 years ago, it was a look. You wear highlights, full head, half head, highlight, low light, and then a full head global colour. Where now we're switching it around and changing, and you know, even the office workers out there who maybe have to have sort of a more sensible colour for wear commitments, within the placement of the camouflage that James worked with on the end, because it was an internal halo, you can play around with that colour. Wear it up, it's hidden away. Where it's smooth, it's covered by the veil. But put a texture through it on a weekend and bring it to life. So you can play around with those categories of direct dyes. Or not even just direct dyes, it's playing with and being more creative with your formulas. You know, using, say we wanted a pinky tone today through Tara's hair, I would have used a 10V, and then I would have just dropped a few grams of like 6 violet red in it, just to give it that real nice cashmere rose blush tone.
One thing to know about our Neuro products, they're these ones in the blue tins. It's kind of like a shampoo through to hairspray, everything designed to protect hair from heat. Especially when you're working with a hair fabric like Alice's hair. This fabric's super fragile. We touch it with too much heat, she's gonna be getting breakage. So even knowing that in my hairspray I have a certain element of heat defense, so tomorrow if she wants to restyle, we can just top that level up. Now I'm just using that finish to utilize a little extra bit of hold and mold that shape in. I don't go super crazy on the spray because again the texture's going to hold. So for those of you who weren't here earlier, just in terms of our colour that we've been working with, we've utilised all the opportunities we have in a Paul Mitchell colour bar. So we've worked with our Colour XG as our surrounding colour. So it's this kind of darker tone that you're seeing here. 6 red violet with a touch of our violet intensifier. Then utilising some smoky tones in the Demi, 2 parts of our 9 pearl ash to 1 part of our 6R, which is what Luke was saying about our kind of lip gloss colour. So that's that slightly lighter red tone through here. And for our pop of vibrancy, we've been working with our Pop XG, which is our direct straight onto the hair, no need for developer dye. That is 4 parts of purple quartz, 2 parts of steel and 1 part of pink. So it's just really brought that hairstyle to life, given her a little dimension. We were super lucky. Alice was a virgin. She had no colour on her hair. So we've been able to be a bit more playful with her hair today. We had less restrictions. So I've been rabbiting on for ages. So I'm going to hand you back over to somebody else now. Joe.
Fine. I like your rabbiting on. That looks absolutely gorgeous. So I'm just finishing off here, just again keeping my darker sections around the perimeter. I love the makeup. We've got a fabulous makeup artist called Beth. She's created some beautiful graphic makeup working through here, which is really going to complement the final look. So just to let you know, like today we wanted to do some live colour, and we've never really done live colour at an event like this before, because we really wanted you to see the whole journey and the whole process of how our professional hair colour system works. So we're going to be finishing off here in about 10 to 15 minutes. And then we're going to be processing these. And then if you go on to Paul Mitchell, at Paul Mitchell UK's Instagram, we'll be keeping you updated on when we'll be back on the stand to show you the final looks, because we want to show you the whole journey of how our system works. So fabulous. It's funny because I was applying this, mixing this colour earlier, which is obviously a six level copper, and she kind of looks at me. She goes, "That doesn't look copper, that looks purple." Has anyone had that before? But I promise it's definitely going to be that beautiful rich copper that we want to see. So yeah, just applying that through that focal area. Does anybody have any questions at all? No? We all good? Just to remind you, we've got a lovely champagne bar upstairs if anybody wants to nip up. Maybe top them ourselves up from the weekend, from last night.
Check your style, and then I think I'm just going to get you to stand up like Ellie is. Oh, can't hear myself.
I'm just finishing working through Tara's side quadrants. So what I like to do, especially around my perimeter, so on each side section, I took my base colour of that level 9, root through ends. I like to create a stronger outline and a border to any colour. It works especially well in shorter hair, but then with longer hair, we still like to create that texture and that dimension. So I've applied both sides now. So this is going to be my face streamer at the front, which I'm keeping lighter. So I'm working with the 10 Blue Violet, the 10 Blue Violet tone, and the 10 PA. So we're just going to get a very, very beautiful soft finish around that hairline. So all those little baby hairs, and with the demi, it's a depository colour, so it's just going to help deposit that tone, but without shifting it, because a lot of clients do like to get a shift in their colour when using a toner, but others don't, because you're going to get a little bit of the noticeable regrowth line. With the demi, you're not going to get any of that.
Excellent. Lovely neat application as well, it's gorgeous. So I'm just going to re-download what I've done here. So working with our 2020 collection, which is the latest Paul Mitchell collection, celebrating 20 years of professional hair colour. I've worked on the Sunflare model. And the inspiration behind this is, I kind of think of an amber. So if you think of, you look like a precious stone, an amber, the jewel. It's kind of a little bit deeper towards the centre, and as it fades out towards the edges, it gets lighter and lighter. So the tones that I've worked with is I'm working with almost like a mustard muted yellow as my accent tones through there, which you're just going to see flickering through the sides and softly through the focal area of the fringe. And then on the root area, I've worked with more of a dark ambaric copper at a level 6. And then I've also worked a third copper through there at a level 8, which has more of a yellowy undertone to it, which I'm finding a lot of customers are asking for at the moment. I know that I get people phone me, they go, "I want copper, but I don't want red," which we know that copper is a form of red, right? But I know that with the Paul Mitchell coppers, you get a real gorgeous, soft, golden, natural-looking copper, which is beautiful. So I'm going to take this away now. I'm going to process it for 35 minutes. And then, again, keep your eye on at Paul Mitchell UK's Instagram, and we'll give you an update on when you can come and look at the finished results. Thank you very much.
Hey, so just to re-download for you, we're celebrating our 2020 collection, so celebrating the last 20 years of Paul Mitchell hair colour and the next 20 years onwards. So I've been working on our gorgeous amethyst model today. So this is Alice. What we did is we actually had a great opportunity at our colour bar. Alice was a complete virgin. She had no colour on there. So we've utilised lots of different areas within our professional colour bar. So we pre-lightened some panels, working with our skylight and just 10 volume just to crack that base. We've then utilised our permanent colour line, which is the colour XG. We've worked with a 6 red violet with a little touch of our violet intensifier just to add a little bit of depth and extra tone. Then working with our demi-permanent system, we've created a kind of smoky amethyst tone utilising our 9 pearl ash and our 6 red. Then last but not least, to add that little bit of pop of colour and a little bit of extra fun to the hair, we've utilised our Pop XG, working with 4 parts of our purple quartz, 2 parts of our steel and 1 part of pink. Just again, thinking about those amethyst tones. I'm going to hand you over to Luke to download what he's been doing.
So I'm finished. So we've painted the hairline piece on last. The demi has a quick 20-minute processing time. So like Joe said, we're going to get these models whisked off, rinsed, styled, dressed, and then on the Facebook and Instagram, there'll be a time when we're going to bring the models back and probably do like a little demo sachet on the stairs somewhere for a picture opportunity. Because they have got killer outfits on under these gowns, which I really want you all to see with the finished hair. So, thank you very much. That done?
Okay, so, just to re-download what I've done today. So this is Emily. So we went for our Camouflage Technique. So the underneath was our XG level 5 matte tone, just to give a red soft finish. On the top was a level 6 matte with a 5A, just kind of smokier finish. And then a Camouflage Technique throughout the middle part in, really just kind of giving pops of teal, green and Bordeaux, just so when it's kind of waved and comes out, it looks really sort of sexy and fun, which is kind of cool. Thank you.
Excellent. So thank you very much everyone that's been with us for the past 30 to 40 minutes. I hope you've enjoyed our 2020 collection. Again, like at Paul Mitchell UK, follow us to keep updated on how the looks are going to be completed. Please, if anybody wants to speak to Rachel about anything to do with our professional colour system, pop upstairs, have a glass of bubbly on us. Thank you very much.